They left me. Even when I was dying, they never came. I took the blame to protect one of them, to hold this family together. And yet, I was the one thrown away like I meant nothing, even by the one I took the blame for. They abandoned their own mother. While we're at it, go ahead, tap that like button. Subscribe. Drop a comment and share. You never know who else needs to hear stories like this. I am Margaret, and I built my life around one simple belief: family comes first. Always. But 3 weeks ago, I had a massive heart attack. Collapsed at work, flatlined twice in the ambulance. The doctors weren't sure I'd make it. When I woke up in that hospital bed, fighting for my life, my phone was empty. Not one missed call. Not one text from any of my 3 children asking if I was okay. The hospital bills are piling up. I can't work. Can't pay rent. Can't even afford the medication keeping me alive. And my family? The ones I sacrificed everything for? They've written me off completely. But let me tell you how I got here. How a mother's love became a death sentence. Richard left when Jason was 12. Just walked out one Tuesday morning like he was going to work and never came back. Left a note on the kitchen counter that said, "I can't do this anymore." Couldn't do what? Be a father? Be a husband? Be a decent human being? I found out later he'd been having an affair with his secretary for 2 years. Classic, right? But here's what he didn't know when he walked out that door. I was already carrying this family on my back anyway. See, I'd been working 2 jobs since Emily was born. Richard contributed, sure, but barely enough to cover his own expenses. He bought himself new tools, went out drinking with his buddies, took fishing trips with his father. Me? I wore the same 3 dresses to church for 5 years because every extra dollar went toward David's college fund or Emily's dance lessons or Jason's baseball equipment. So when Richard left, honestly? The only thing that changed was that I stopped pretending we were a team. A single mother of 3 kids? It's not just about the money. Though God knows that's hard enough. It's about becoming every person your children need you to be, all at once, all the time. I was their mother, their father, their counselor, their cheerleader, their disciplinarian, their safe place to land. David was 17 when Richard left. Smart kid, but angry. So angry. He started acting out, staying out late, getting into fights at school. I'd wait up for him until 2 in the morning, and when he finally came home, I'd make him sit at the kitchen table while I heated up his dinner. No lectures. No yelling. Just, tell me about your day. It took months, but eventually he started talking. Emily was 15 and boy crazy. Every week it was a new crisis, some boy who didn't like her back, some friend who betrayed her, some teacher who had it out for her. She'd cry on my bed for hours, and I'd hold her and listen and tell her she was beautiful and worthy and that high school wasn't forever. Jason was my baby, and he took Richard's leaving the hardest. He wet the bed for 6 months. Had nightmares. Asked me every single day if I was going to leave too. I'd crawl into his twin bed and hold him until he fell asleep, whispering, "Mommy's never leaving. Mommy's never leaving. You're stuck with me forever." People always ask me, how did you do it? How did you manage? Simple. I never slept. Monday through Friday, I worked the early morning shift at an hospital. 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. Cleaning rooms, changing bedsheets, emptying trash cans. The pay was terrible, but the health insurance was decent, and it meant I could be home when the kids got out of school. Friday and Saturday nights, I cleaned office buildings downtown. 6 p.m. to midnight. The kids thought I was working late at the hospital. I never told them I was scrubbing toilets and emptying waste baskets in corporate offices. Sundays, I catered private parties for wealthy families. Wearing a black dress and serving fancy food to people who spent more on one dinner party than I made in a month. The hardest part wasn't the physical exhaustion. It was watching other mothers at school events, dressed nicely, chatting about their vacation plans and their husbands' promotions, while I stood there in my hospital scrubs, calculating whether I could afford to buy the kids pizza after the game. But I did it. Every day, every week, every month, every year. Because that's what mothers do. David graduated valedictorian. Full scholarship to State University for engineering. I cried in the bathroom at his graduation because I was so proud and so broke I couldn't afford to take him out to dinner to celebrate. He got his degree, got a good job, got married to a sweet girl named Lisa. They moved 3 hours away but called every Sunday. Good kid. Responsible. Just like I raised him to be. Emily was. Emily. Beautiful, impulsive, always chasing the wrong thing. She dropped out of college junior year to follow some musician to California. Came back 6 months later, heartbroken and broke. Then it was cosmetology school. Then it was real estate. Then it was a photography business that lasted about 8 weeks. But every time she crashed, she came home. And I'd make her favorite soup and let her cry and help her figure out the next step. Jason, my baby, turned out to be the artist of the family. Quiet, sensitive, incredibly talented. He could draw anything. People, buildings, landscapes that looked like photographs. He married his high school sweetheart, Maya, right after graduation. She got pregnant 6 months later with their son, Andrew. Andrew. My first grandchild. 5 pounds, 3 ounces of pure perfection. I was in that delivery room when he was born, and when they placed him in my arms, I thought, this is it. This is what I've been working toward my whole life. This is my legacy. By the time Andrew turned 4, some things were starting to worry me about Emily. She'd been living with me on and off for 2 years. Another failed relationship, another lost job. But this time felt different. She was staying out later. Sleeping until noon. Getting phone calls at weird hours from people who hung up when I answered. One morning I found empty beer cans under her bed. Then it was wine bottles. Then I started noticing money missing from my purse. Small amounts at first. 20 here, 40 there. The kind of thing you could convince yourself you miscounted. But then I caught her. I came home early from work one Tuesday and found her going through my dresser drawer where I kept my emergency cash. Emily, what are you doing? She froze like a deer in headlights, my rent money in her hand. Mom, I can explain, put it back. I said I was going to pay you back, I just needed put it back. I yelled she did, but the trust was broken. That night, I sat her down and asked her point blank, are you using drugs? She swore she wasn't. Said she just had some gambling debts. Said she'd gotten in over her head with some online betting thing. I believed her because I wanted to believe her. I should have dug deeper. It was a Saturday morning. I was getting ready for work, had to cover a double shift because another cleaner called in sick. Emily was staying with me again. Another breakup, another lost job. Same story, different month. My phone rang around 9 a.m. Jason. Mom, I hate to ask, but Maya's working today and I got called in for overtime. Could you possibly watch Andrew? Just for a few hours? Of course, baby. Bring him over. Actually, could you come here? He's got all his toys set up and I don't want to pack everything. I was exhausted. I'd worked 12 hours the day before and my feet were killing me. But it was Jason asking, and I'd never said no to Jason. Sure. Give me 20 minutes. I grabbed my purse and was heading for the door when Emily appeared. Where are you going? To Jason's. I'm watching Andrew for a few hours. Emily's face lit up. Mom, you look exhausted. Why don't I go? I love spending time with Andrew, and you need rest. I hesitated. Emily with a 4-year-old? She couldn't even take care of herself lately. But she looked so eager. so ready to help. Emily, I don't know, Mom, please. Let me do this. You work so hard, and I've been such a burden lately. Let me help the family for once. Something in her voice convinced me. Maybe this was what she needed, some responsibility, some purpose. Okay. But Emily, you have to promise me you'll watch him every second. Andrew is fast and curious and, I promise, Mom. I've got this. 3 hours later, my phone rang. I was deep asleep when it buzzed, and for a moment I couldn't figure out where I was. Hello? Sobbing. Screaming. Panic. Mom. Mom, you have to come. Something happened. My blood went cold. Emily? What happened? Where's Andrew? The hospital. We're at the hospital. He fell and the line went dead. I've never driven so fast in my life. I found Emily in the emergency room waiting area, rocking back and forth, her face streaked with tears and mascara. Where is he? Where's Andrew? They took him back. They won't let me see him. Mom, he was fine 1 minute and then what happened, Emily? Exactly what happened. She couldn't get the words out. Just kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean for this to happen. That's when I saw Jason come through the automatic doors. His face was white as paper. Sarah was behind him, still in her work uniform. Where's my son? Emily tried to approach him, but he walked right past her to the nurse's station. That's when the doctor came out. Dr. Martinez. I'll never forget his name. Are you Andrew Sullivan's family? I'm his father, Jason said. I need to speak with you about Andrew's condition. We followed him to a small consultation room. Emily tried to come with us, but Jason stopped her. You stay here. Jason, please you stay here. The doctor's words are burned into my memory. Andrew suffered a severe head trauma. He fell down a flight of stairs. We've done everything we can, but... I'm sorry. We couldn't save him. Maya collapsed. Jason made a sound I've never heard before or since, like something inside him physically broke. And I felt my entire world end. How did this happen? Jason's voice was barely human. Emily was standing in the corner, shaking. I was watching him. We were playing upstairs, and he was running around and I told him to slow down but he didn't listen, and you were supposed to be watching him. I was right there. Then how did he fall down the stairs? Emily looked at me, her eyes desperate. This is the moment. This is when I should have said, I wasn't even there. This isn't my fault. This is when I should have let Emily face the consequences of her actions. But Maya was sobbing. Jason looked like he might collapse. And Emily was falling apart. And all I could think was, if they knew Emily had been drinking again, if they knew she'd fallen asleep on the couch while Andrew played alone upstairs, this family would be destroyed forever. So I stepped forward. It was my fault. Everyone looked at me. I was tired. I'd been working all night and I dozed off. Just for a few minutes. When I woke up, Andrew was gone and I heard the noise from downstairs. Emily stared at me, her mouth open. Mom, no, it was my fault, I repeated. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Jason's grief turned to rage in an instant. You fell asleep? You fell asleep while watching my son? Jason, please get away from me. He was screaming now. Maya was sobbing harder. Emily was silent. I trusted you. I've trusted you my whole life and you, Jason, please, let me explain. There's nothing to explain. I won't forgive you. The words hit me like physical blows. You killed him and I will never forgive you. Never. The funeral was 3 days later. Jason didn't speak to me the entire time. David flew in from out of state. He hugged me and said, Mom, accidents happen. Jason will come around. But I could see it in his eyes too. The doubt. The disappointment. Emily sat next to me during the service, but she might as well have been on the moon. When it was over, Jason walked up to me in the cemetery. I don't want to see you anymore. Jason, please, I don't want you in my life. I don't want your calls or your visits or your money. As far as I'm concerned, I don't have a mother anymore. Maya tried to intervene. Jason, that's not Maya, don't. Because of her, Andrew is gone. That was 4 years ago. I haven't seen him since. You'd think that would be the worst part, but it wasn't. The worst part was watching my other children disappear too. David started calling less. When he did call, the conversations were stilted, careful. Like talking to a distant relative you see once a year. How are you, Mom? I'm fine, sweetheart. Work going okay? Yes, work's fine. Okay. Well, I should go. Lisa's calling me for dinner. Never any real conversation. Never any warmth. And Emily? Emily was the cruelest of all. She stayed in touch, but only to use me. Mom, I'm short on rent this month. Mom, my car broke down. Mom, I lost my job again. And like an idiot, I kept helping. Kept sending money. Kept bailing her out. Because I thought if I just loved her enough, if I just supported her enough, maybe someday she'd tell them the truth. Maybe someday she'd clear my name. But that day never came. I quit my weekend catering job first. Couldn't stand being around happy families anymore. Then I started calling in sick more often at the hospital. Just couldn't face the cheerful small talk from coworkers. How are your kids, Margaret? They're fine. And your grandson? He's not with us anymore. Oh no. Did they move away? Something like that. I stopped going to church. Stopped attending family events in my neighborhood. Stopped pretending I was okay. My world got smaller and smaller until it was just me, my small apartment, and my part-time job. But I still sent birthday cards to Jason every year. Still sent Christmas presents that were returned unopened. Still hoped that somehow, someway, my family would forgive me for something I didn't even do. Late at night, when the loneliness was crushing, I'd lie awake asking myself the same questions over and over. Was I wrong to protect Emily? Should I have let Jason know his sister was drunk when his son died? Would it have been better to destroy Emily's relationship with her brothers than to sacrifice my own? What kind of mother chooses one child over the others? But then I'd remember Emily's face that day in the hospital. The pure terror. The desperation. And I'd remember all the times I'd had to choose between my children's needs. When David needed college money but Emily needed therapy. When Jason needed help with his wedding but David's business was failing. A mother is always choosing. The difference is, usually no one else sees the choice. This time everyone saw the choice. And I chose to save the child who couldn't save herself. I started having chest pains. At first, I ignored them. Figured it was stress, maybe too much caffeine. But then one morning at work, I collapsed in the middle of mopping the ICU floor. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed with wires attached to my chest. Margaret? I'm Dr. Kim. You've had a heart attack. A what? A moderate heart attack. We're going to need to keep you here for observation and run some tests. I can't afford to stay here. Margaret, you don't have a choice. This is serious. The test showed significant damage. Years of stress, poor eating habits, and exhaustion had taken their toll. You need to make some lifestyle changes, Dr. Kim said. Less stress, better diet, more rest. And you'll need regular monitoring. For how long? For the rest of your life. The hospital contacted my emergency contacts. Emily showed up 6 hours later, frazzled and annoyed. Mom, you scared me. Why didn't you call me sooner? I was unconscious, Emily. Well, you're okay now, right? The doctor said you'll be fine. I had a heart attack. But you're fine now. She stayed for 20 minutes, then said she had somewhere to be. David called from out of state. Mom, I wish I could be there, but work is crazy right now. Emily said you're okay though? I'm okay. Good. Take care of yourself. Jason never called. Emily started visiting more often after my heart attack, but I quickly realized why. I'd gotten behind on bills during my hospital stay, and when she came over to help me organize my finances, I caught her forging my signature on checks. Emily, what the hell are you doing? Mom, you're behind on your electric bill. I was just you were stealing from me. Again. It's not stealing. I'm helping you. By forging my signature? That's when the truth finally came out. Mom, I'm in trouble. Real trouble. What kind of trouble? I owe some people money. A lot of money. Gambling again? Drugs. The word hung in the air between us. How much? 15,000. I felt dizzy. Emily, I don't have $15,000. But you have equity in this apartment. You could take out a loan now. Mom, please. These people aren't playing around. They've already threatened me. Then go to the police. I can't go to the police. They'll arrest me. For what, I wondered, but didn't ask. Emily, I can't help you this time. But you always help me. You always fix things. Not this time. She stormed out, and I didn't hear from her for 3 months. Emily never called to confess. Never told anyone the truth. In fact, she seemed to settle perfectly into the lie. She bonded even closer with David and Jason after Andrew's death, their shared grief bringing them together. While I was cast out completely. I see their photos on social media sometimes, the three of them at family dinners, holiday celebrations, birthday parties. Always together. Always smiling. Always without me. David stopped calling after the first year. Just stopped. Like I never existed. Jason blocked my number completely. And Emily? Emily would text me occasionally when she needed money. Mom, rent is due. Mom, car payment. Never how are you? Never I'm sorry. Just her hand stretched out, expecting me to fill it. Like a stranger asking for spare change. The last time I heard from any of them was 2 years ago when Emily needed bail money. She'd been arrested for drunk driving. I wired her the money. She never even said thank you. 2 years ago, when the hospital asked for emergency contacts after I had an heart attack, I gave them all 3 of my children's numbers. Emily was the only one who answered. Your mother had a massive heart attack, the nurse told her. She's in critical condition. Can you come? Is she going to die? That was all she said. She never called me. Never visited. I see Emily on social media sometimes. She's a mother of 2 now, a boy and a girl. Beautiful children who look just like she did at their age. But here's what haunts me, she's never brought them to see me. Not once in the 4 years since Andrew died. I've never held my own grandchildren. Don't even know what they sound like when they laugh. And I keep wondering, does she not trust me either? Even though she knows the truth? Even though she knows everything was her fault? That I'm not negligent and something like that would never happen under my watch? Or worse, has she convinced herself that I really was to blame? Has she rewritten history in her mind to make her life feel like truth? I watch her post pictures of family gatherings, and I notice something that chills me to the bone. Emily and the boys became even closer after Andrew's death. The grief probably made them bond more. And they still leave their children with Emily sometimes. What if something similar happens again because of her negligence? What if history repeats itself because I protected her from facing the consequences of her actions? What if my silence didn't save my family? What if it just delayed the next tragedy? These thoughts eat at me in the dark hours when sleep won't come. But even with all these doubts, even with all this pain. And yet, if Emily called me today, sobbing again, asking me to cover for her, to save her from herself, I would probably still say yes. Because that's the curse of motherhood, you carry their sins like they're your own. Even if it costs you everything. Now I keep asking myself, was I wrong to take the blame? Is it too late to say the truth? Would that change anything, or would it make them hate me more? I feel like I'm all alone now. Did I betray them? Or did they betray me? Are we still family? Or not? To anyone listening, if you have a mother who sacrificed for you, call her. Visit her. Hear her out. Even if she was wrong, try to forgive her. Because one day, you might wake up and realize too late that unconditional love was never supposed to mean being left behind. This is Family or Not, where we share stories that no one wants to talk about at family dinners. If you've ever dealt with family drama that nobody else would believe, hit like, subscribe, and drop your own story in the comments. You're safe here.